Hi, welcome. We are doing section 2.5 today, and that is on page 58 in your note guides, so make sure you're on the right page. We are going to be talking about deductive reasoning today, and we've already introduced inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning we did a while ago. Inductive reasoning is when you see things, you observe things, there's patterns, and you make an observation, you make a hypothesis based on what you see in the observations that you've made. And you look around and you see your patterns. Deductive is based on facts. You know facts, and you make a decision and an idea and a conclusion based on your facts. So deductive reasoning is drawing a conclusion. Based on facts. I'm going to highlight this too, D and F. I don't know if you remember if inductive was inductive, observation were I and O, those are vowels. D and F are our consonants to help us remember which ones go together. Facts and statements. Okay, so right here we have the law of detachment. Given a conditional statement, if the hypothesis is true, then the conclusion is true. So our law of detachment just say if the hypothesis part of the statement is true, then the conclusion must be true as well. And if you remember, we use these letters Q and P. P is our hypothesis, and Q is our conclusion. So the way we kind of our symbolic map of this is if P, then Q. Again, I like to highlight before I write, because if I highlight before I write, it doesn't always smear. So the first one is if P, then Q. If this is my conditional statement, and I know that P is a true statement. So if P, then Q, and I know that P is a true statement. I'm going to use this symbol right here. This is a new symbol maybe to some of us. It's this 3 dots. This symbol indicates therefore. Okay, so if I have a statement, if P, then Q. P is true. Therefore, Q also has to be true. And we know that if P is true, then Q is our answer to the statement. I'm going to highlight with, it looks like orange on my thing, but they're yellow and green. It looks like orange for some reason. They're yellow and green highlighters are what I'm using today. Okay, so we're going to go to some of these examples here. Oh, I like to write the date. I forgot. I'm writing it on the weekend, 9/12. But you're probably writing it on a separate day. Go ahead and make sure you put your name, date, and period up there. Okay. If Mark gives you $30, then he can buy a new video game. Mark saves $30. If Mark saves $30. We want to identify the P, the hypothesis, and the Q, the conclusion. I'm going to use my highlighters to do that. If Mark saves $30, then he can buy a new video game. Well, that's our P. And then our Q. This is P. Was P true? P is true, which means the conclusion that I know is going to happen is that Mark can buy a new video game. So I go through and I highlight these and I color code them just because I really like to do that, and it helps me see what's going on. So again, color coding here, if the quadrilateral is a rhombus, this is my P. Then it is also a parallelogram, that's my Q. Quadrilateral ABCD is a rhombus, Well, is the P part of this statement true? Yes, it is. So then I know that quadrilateral ABCD is a rhombus. Oh, no, sorry, is a parallelogram. I usually abbreviate parallelogram, and we haven't done that yet, but two straight long L's indicate parallel, so I usually do that instead of writing parallelogram. Okay, here we have another one. If you are 18 years old, then you can register to vote. Is this my P? Olivia is not 18 years old. That is not my P. My P is not true. So what can I conclude? I have no conclusion here. So if that is not your P, you have no conclusion. So no valid conclusion is your answer. Okay, down here I have the sum of the measures of two angles. Sum two angles is 90. Then they're complementary. Well, I have 58 and 32 here. So, do they have a sum of 90 degrees? Check. Then I know that they're complementary. I can say here that angle J and angle K are complementary. And you don't need to use an if or a then. When you're writing your if-then statements, which we were doing last week, you have to include your if P then Q, but here you're not really, you're just telling me that the Q is true. So if you know the P portion, then J and K are complementary. You don't have to include the then in your statement. Next one here. If you plan to attend prom, then you must purchase a ticket. Sarah purchases a prom ticket. Is this my P? That's not my P, that's my Q. So it does not match my format for detachment here. There is no valid conclusion I can create. So you got to be really careful that it has to be a P. So I wrote the P every time and I checked, is that your P? And if there's anything that it doesn't make it work, you can't use it. Okay, I want you to go ahead to the next page. Oh, this is syllogism. All right. Law of syllogism. This is a little bit different. And this one, I like this one a little bit better, actually. Because detachment just seems, it's detached. Which is actually good. Detachment, they are detached pieces. There's no if then, it's just the P or the Q detached by itself. Syllogism, you keep it linked. So I remember syllogism has these L's here, and I remember that you are linking. You're going to link the phrases together. So, law of syllogism always allows you to draw a conclusion from two conditional statements, from two or more, actually. It allows you to draw a conclusion from two conditional statements in which the conclusion of the first statement is the hypothesis of the second statement. So I'm going to have three colors here. I'm going to use yellow, green, and orange this time. So I'm going to show you if P then Q, and if Q then R, okay, so I'm going to start here. I'm going to say, well, if I have P, if P then Q is my first conditional statement. And if Q, I have one more orange in here. If Q then R is my second conditional statement. So now Q is the conclusion here, but now it's the hypothesis. So when the conclusion of one and the hypothesis of the other are the same, and Q then R, then I can connect those. So if P then Q and Q then R, well then if P, then R. And I'm going to put a little therefore. So if P then Q and if Q then R, therefore I know that if P then R, and it's going to connect all the way. So that's what we're going to kind of pay attention to here. So I'm going to highlight, if it is Saturday, then Jake has a baseball tournament. PQ. If Jake has a baseball tournament, okay, Q, then he will need to pack his lunch, R. There we go. So if P then Q and if Q then R, so I know if that happens, I know, well, if it's Saturday, then I can conclude all the way to the end that he needs to pack his lunch. So I'm going to say if it is Saturday, then he packs his lunch. Again, I'm going to abbreviate my sentences. They're not going to be full and complete sentences because I'm lazy, I guess. But you can write full and complete sentences if you want. And again, I like to highlight these. If Saturday, then he packs his lunch. So here I have, if a number is divisible by 12, then the number is divisible by 3, or 6. If a number is divisible by 6, then the number is divisible by 3. So here again, I have two that connect. The two greens in the middle connect. I can go ahead and say, if a number is divisible by 12, then it's divisible by 6, but I know at the very end, it's also divisible by 3. So you don't even have to include that middle piece, you just drop the green piece. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute to do some of these, and then I'm going to mash them up and restart the video in just a moment. So go ahead and pause and see if you can fill these in. Okay, so I highlighted a few more of these. Number 8 works. Quadrilateral is a square or rectangle. Then if it's a rectangle, it has 4 right angles. Those two in the middle match. So I can go ahead and say if, I'm just going to say if it's a square, then it's a rectangle. And if it's a rectangle, then it has 4 right angles. Okay, over here it says, if it's sunny this weekend, then you will go boating. And if it is sunny this weekend, this is another yellow. The two yellows match. And that doesn't tell us anything. There's nothing we can do. It's not linking them together. This is no valid conclusion because it doesn't match our format. Okay, the next one, if you shop at Target, then you'll use your red card, but it's snuck in that not. How many of you guys saw the word not here? So these P's don't match. Again, we have no valid conclusion. The last one, however, if it snows, then school will be canceled, and if it's canceled, then we need to make up a day. So if snow, then we need to, that's ugly, sorry. Then we need to make up school. We need a make-up day. Okay, I'm going to pause and go to the next page in just a moment, but I'm going to pause right now so you guys can finish highlighting. Okay, this next page is just some more practice that we can go through, and there aren't a ton of them, but you should take a minute and read through and decide, is it law of detachment, is it law of syllogism, or is it invalid? So go ahead and highlight these, pause it, answer them on your own first, and then come back. Okay, so reading the first one, if I drive over the speed limit is my P, then I will get a ticket is my Q. Well, it tells me I drove over the speed limit, and that happens to be my P. So if this is my P, my conclusion is I got a ticket. And my conclusion here is my Q. So which one of those is that? Is that detachment or syllogism? And this one here is going to be our law of detachment. It's the detached piece where you take the linking apart and say, well, if P separately, then Q separately is going to happen. Detachment. Okay, if Amanda goes to a restaurant, then she will order a hamburger. Well, if she orders a hamburger, that's that Q. Then she will get fries. So this tells me if she went to a restaurant, then she got fries. So the color coding there says, well, if P then Q, if Q then R. Well, then if P then da 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 da, we come all the way back to R. So this one is our law of syllogism. Now here we have, if it snows, then I will wear my snow boots. If it snows, then I won't go to school that day. If I don't go to school, then I will wear my snow boots. Well, this is a Q, and then this is a different one, so this is kind of like an R. If P then Q, if P then R. That's not linking. They're not linking here. And it said, if I don't go to school, then I will wear my snow boots. And I don't have anything that says that combination. So again, this does not follow my rules. This one is invalid. If Tina goes to the beach, then she will wear sunscreen. Well, Tina goes to the beach, then she wears sunscreen. Well, this is my P, and if my P is true, then my Q has to be true for law of detachment. Okay, the last one we have here, on this page, we have one more page. If you get a cold, then you will eat chicken soup. Well, you ate chicken soup, so you must have a cold. Well, if P then Q, this is Q. That's not my P. That doesn't follow my pattern. That doesn't follow what I need it to be. It needs to be P, so I know Q is true. I could eat chicken soup for other times, like maybe it's just something you eat for, I don't know, on Thanksgiving or something. It could be a different reason. So this one is invalid. Okay, we're going to go to the last page for these notes, and I want you to take a minute and fill these in, see how you do. I don't know that we're going to finish. Yeah, you could do 19, actually. 19's kind of fun. Or 9, sorry. 9's kind of fun. I'm going to pause this and I'm going to fill them all in. So pause before I do so you can come back and check your answers. Okay, so again, up this one, up here for 6, we linked it. If P then Q, if Q then R, those linked. So if P then R, that's our syllogism. If P then Q, and I know P, she got 98, which is more than 95. So I know she's going to get an A in geometry. That's detachment. This one, if it's raining, you bring an umbrella. Well, then if you bring an umbrella, again, remember that's your Q. That's not your P. You need it to be your P. So this one's invalid. Now this one, I didn't finish this yet. I'm going to pause it in a minute, but you want to link these. You want to find P's and Q's that match. So go through there and see if you can highlight any P's or Q's that match. I'm still going to use my same colors, but they don't mean the same thing this time. I just want to find some P's and Q's that match. Okay, so I go through there and again, we're just finding ones that match. I had 4 right angles here and here. I had opposite sides are parallel here and here. I had rectangle here and here. So I had P's and Q's that match. The first one I'm doing is my orange. If the quadrilateral is a square, then it has 4 right angles. Well, if it has 4 right angles, then it's a rectangle. so I can stop there. Now I'm going to do my C's. And my C's start here, my yellow, C to D. If it has 4 right angles, then it's a rectangle, and if it's a rectangle, opposite sides are congruent. I'll use my congruent symbol there. And then my green one, the last one here, again you can pause at any point. I'm going to go B to E. If it's a rhombus, then opposite sides are where are they? If it's a rhombus, then opposite sides are parallel. If opposite sides are parallel, then it's a parallelogram. Okay, so here we go. That is it for your notes today. Alex should be up and running, hopefully, definitely by the time you get to this set of notes. And have a great day. Anyway, ask questions in class if you have them, and I will see you later. Bye.